Hi, this is Eric. Today I present to you some basic modules of consciousness geometry so that we have something to work with. The first module is the wavebox, and to create the wavebox we use the self-to-self relations. Now we can make these visible in the home house. They are, so to say, spiritual movement patterns in hyperspace which are creating materia and space through the sphere of the flower of life. The self-to-self relations in the cube structure are a little bit like a corset, self-controlled through algorithms in a constructive way. The advantage of self-to-self relations in the cube structure is, for example, infinite storage capacity. And these self-to-self relations are not new. Philosophers like Hegel looked into this subject intensively, and everything which is built in reality is based on them. Now we can make a ride along the area 6, which means self-restriction in the cube structure, proceeding an algorithm, and during the ride we continuously change between female and male energy. This means turn and reflect, to and fro, in a way of traveling around the structure of the seed of life, which is the area 6. We build up the home house, the one system, the area 6, and going to the starting point, then turn, reflect, turn, reflect, turn, reflect, turn, reflect, and the red trace you can see here is showing the way consciousness has traveled related to the 0 points. We continue and at the end the process starts again. This is the wave box, and it supports 4 movement patterns, which, for example, planet Earth is performing also while riding around the center of our galaxy. This is the wave, the spiral, the oscillation, and the circle movement around the area 6. And also it is easy to connect the wave boxes in series. Then we get, for example, a straight spiral. So this is a module we can work with. We can be glad that the physicians gave us the Planck length, the smallest length in the world. Let's take this as the basic value for the sphere of the flower of life. And therefore we should localize the Planck length in the geometry. So first we have a look to what is available. Regarding the seed of life, we said that consciousness is riding from one point to the next, bridging the distance of a Planck length in a Planck second with light speed. At the same time, this distance is equal to a square diagonal, because the structure of the seed of life is the area 6. That means the Planck length should be a square diagonal. And if we have a look to a square with edge length 1, then the square diagonal has the value 1.414. The Planck length has the value 1.616. And what appears here is a Planck length family. That means we are dealing with a flexible system. And this flexibility is mandatory, because otherwise the curvature of space would not be possible in an organized manner. We always need a flexible and a reference system from which the flexible one is receiving orientation. And if we now presume the Planck length to be a square diagonal, then we can calculate the system, and the result is that if we have a 777 and a 888, and the 777 has the edge value 1, then the square diagonal of the 888 is the Planck length, relating to the 1 of the 777. and it supports the value 1.61624407128.354. And this is the way the Planck length integrates itself into the seed of life and makes curvature of space possible due to the flexible system. A further basic module is the dot box, which enables us to create a sphere of the flower of life. And therefore we build up a dodecahedron, which is made of 5 cubes. And the trick with the dot box is to convert the 5 cubes into home houses, because the home houses creates the one systems which we need to construct new dodecahedrons. And to create the home houses we need the shoulder points of the dodecahedron. Let's zoom into such a pentagon and create a pentagram with the diagonals. This leads us to cross points and new diagonals, which themselves create new cross points. And these are the shoulder points. We have 5 shoulder points in each of the 12 pentagons. And these points create shoulder pentagons. And here we can see clearly that the shoulder points are creating the home houses and the structure of the seeds of life in the cubes. The home houses are building up the one systems, which leads to new dodecahedrons in a 90-degree angle, which creates crossed roofs. Now we turn a pentagon to the front, watching for crossed roofs, and we continue creating new dodecahedrons by crossing the remaining edges. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have used all 5 cubes in the dot box with the central dodecahedron plus 5 dodecahedrons is complete. This is the side view, the perspective view, and here we already can recognize the basic structure of the sphere of the flower of life. And with the dot boxes we have the possibility now to create a sphere of the flower of life. But before we do this, I would like to show you 2 interesting photos which I found on Pixabay. Probably you know the lion dogs from the Forbidden City in Beijing. These sculptures were produced in a very elaborated and costly way, containing a manifold and meaningful symbolism. Because in nature there are no lion dogs traveling to China to watch over a ball. And here we see a mix of a lion and a dog with human-like arms, pressing its paw powerful on a ball to protect something, probably to protect a technology. This ball is wrapped up with a little cloth, on which we can see a pattern, which is the structure of the flower of life. Everything at this sculpture seems to have a symbolic meaning, and this gives us space for interpretation. The lions sit on a cloth with the flower of life structure on it, and the cloth is supporting a flexible structure. So if I bend a generally straight area structure over a ball, and if we presume that the flower of life has something to do with materia and space, then this is probably the symbolizing of a curvature of space or manipulation of materia done by humans or human-like beings, because only humans can tie bows. Is this probably a warning to future civilizations? Do not experiment, for example, with atomic bombs or free energy. And if you do so, the big lion comes and will lead you, the little lion, back on the right track. The big lion does not want to kill, otherwise he would have the little lion between his teeth. Does all this probably have something to do with Atlantis or the big flood? We don't know. But what we know is that this sphere is not the sphere of the flower of life. There is no sphere existing with only hexagons on it. If there are hexagons on the sphere, there are also pentagons on it, just like a soccer ball. Therefore, let us build up our own sphere of the flower of life, which is integrated into the cube structure. And this definitely is complex, no matter how you build it up. So let's start with the dodecahedron, which is made of 5 cubes. The shoulder points are creating the home houses, and every home house is building up 4 seeds of life. Therefore, we get 5 times 4 equal 20 seed of life structures, turned against each other and creating a sphere. So if we just pay attention to 20 seeds of life in our central dodecahedron, then this is, so to say, the sphere of the flower of life in level 0. Level 1 contains the complete dot box. Then the seeds of life are following the crossing procedure regarding the dodecahedrons in the dot box, creating a denser sphere. Now, when exactly this process stops, most probably will be decided by algorithms. So with the first crossing, we get 40 seed of life structures. And here we can see already how the equators are building up themselves. We continue crossing the dodecahedrons, 60, 80, 100, 120. And then the dot box is complete. And this is the sphere of the flower of life level 1. In the side view, in the perspective view, and now we can create dot boxes out of the crossed dodecahedrons. Again, dancing the sphere to level 2. This is looking like this. From the new crossed dodecahedrons, we again create dot boxes. And this leads to level 3. Oh, what a nice view. And it shows the structure on the surface like a soccer ball. So this is a functioning possibility to work with the sphere of the flower of life. Because with this sphere, we can create the seed of life in the cube structure. We have the home house and the sphere of the flower of life. Now we construct a new home house with the center on the edge of the area 6. This is the perspective view with the spheres, then repeating the procedure at the other edges, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have the seed of life, and our constructed sphere is fitting perfectly into the seed of life. Now we can build up the complete structure of the sphere of the flower of life. We have the cube, the Planck length, the sphere, and the dodecahedron. And this picture is expressing, firstly, that we are able to build up a sphere of the flower of life, and that the sphere and the Planck length are embedded into the cube structure and the dodecahedron structure. This is what this picture is showing us. And if we, for example, inflate a proton to screen size proportionally with the sphere of the flower of life and put the sphere of life next to the proton, then the sphere of life is not visible because it's too small. And now we can suggest what is going on in a proton very much. In this sense, I hope you could pick up something for you. My name is Eric. Nothing seems to be like it is, and I wish you a good day. And if we don't see us anymore, good evening and good night.